And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Many school districts were in existence prior to British Columbia joining Canada in 1871. Some districts were just single schools or even just one teacher. Traditionally, school districts in British Columbia were either municipal or rural and given a regional name. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 1991.
This is the Utsa Lake School. It's the last of its kind in School District 55, likely one of the last anywhere. Although the school could take up to 40 students, it currently provides an education to just 6. Make that 8 if you count 2 boys from the Peace School District. They're staying with family at Utsa while teachers at home are on strike. As one looks around the school, it's apparent this is a rural school. It's not surrounded by residences. In fact, it just seems to sit on its own on the shore of Utsa Lake. Utsa is in what's broadly known as the Lakes District. To get there, one turns south at Burns Lake, takes the ferry across Francois Lake, and travels through the communities of Grassy Plains and Takaisi Lake. It's just minutes away from the Skins Lake spillway, the outlet for water from Alcan's Reservoir, of which Utsa Lake is part. There used to be more kids at Utsa, but over the years, as with other one-room schoolhouses, the numbers drop and the decision finally has to be made on closing it down. That time has finally come for Utsa.
I think it's a very real possibility now. There's not enough children here anymore to keep it open, unfortunately, but I'm sad about it. I would like the boys to continue here because they do learn a lot that they don't in bigger schools. A broader range of things, and their teacher is more open to teaching them whatever they're interested in at the time. And I think they get a good start, a good basic start here.
The teacher here, and there's just one, is Kathy McLean. She's been at Utsa Lake Elementary for 6 years. She says her time at this sort of one-room schoolhouse has been rewarding.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. And it's fun working with the different age groups. It's more like a very large family. And you see the children interacting with different age groups. And the older children learn to teach the younger children, which is really, really nice. So you see a lot more camaraderie.
There is not only camaraderie among the kids in the school, but among the entire community. Kathy says parents and community members help out where needed. For example, June Moulton. Her own 2 children were enrolled at Utsa Lake School 20 years ago.
Well, I've always worked with children. I taught dancing for years and piano, like I say, and it's just something I like to do, and I love music, and I think they should have some knowledge about that. And it gives them a little bit of a start so that when they get over to Grassy, where there's a band program and so forth, they're a little bit more prepared to enter into something like that.
If this school closes, there is the comment about it being able to reopen, but do you believe that? Do you think when it closes that'll be it?
Well, I think it might take something rather drastic as far as numbers or whatever to even for them to even think about opening it up again. That's the way it is with lots of things. Once it's finished, it's finished.
Another interesting facet in this community school is what happens at a school function, like this year's field trip to Victoria.
Oh, we had a wonderful time. All the parents came, and we had some grandparents along, and a few cousins, and one of our ex-students.
So that's a little bit different than what you might find in an urban school going on a field trip.
Yeah, especially when the adults outnumber the children.
While the profile of the group on the Utsa school field trip might be a little unusual, the basic purpose of the trip is like at any other school.
Well, we've been studying in grade 3, we've been studying about Canada and about the political structure of British Columbia and Canada. But it's just a concept they see in the book. So when we went to Victoria, they could see the Parliament buildings for themselves. And they were just awestruck. They're just, and just looking at everything around them, and they just wanted to know about everything that was there and who worked there, and they just loved it.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thanks for staying with us. The student-teacher ratio has been found to be one of the strongest indicators of student success and engagement. Logically, it's a little wonder why. The fewer students each teacher works with, the more closely they're able to adapt their teaching to specific learning styles. Let us return to the archives with June Moulton.
What about the quality of education in such a small school? June says its size is an advantage.
Well, they have more of a rapport with their teacher and a little bit more almost on a one-on-one type thing for any problems of learning that they might have. And one of the things that I've always noticed, regardless of whether it was my kids involved or not, and that is the older kids seem to learn to care about the younger ones, and they're helpful to the teacher if she needs that help, and it's something that you don't see in the bigger schools with more children.
And what about the mix of ages? At Utsa Lake, it can go from kindergarten to grade 5 in the same class.
Oh, it's very good. Yeah, in small quantities, it's very good. They teach each other a lot and end up learning a lot from each other socially and academically as well. And the younger children really benefit because they get to participate a lot in the older kids' activities and add their ideas to what the older kids are learning. And they get a broader view of everything that way.
Lori's son, Robin, also likes that there's a mix of ages.
Do people get along?
Yep. Just like a family.
Is that right? Do you squabble like in a family too?
No.
No?
What about the downside? Do the kids miss something that's available in a larger school with more children, more staff, and more facilities?
Yes, they do. I won't deny that. But there's so many extra things they do get that make up for it, I think. Because they do eventually go on to a bigger school. It's not like this is forever.
However, as parents lament the demise of the school, the kids don't seem quite as concerned.
What do you think about the possibility of the school closing?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you think that it'll be fun to go to another school next year?
Yep.
You're looking forward to that? Is that right? You're not even going to miss this school?
Yeah, I probably will.
Probably will. How about you, Derek? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't really care.
You don't care?
Mm-mm.
Would you like to go to Grassy?
Not really.
Do you like staying here?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about it here?
You don't have to do very much work.
Oh.
One factor that'll likely hit the kids more next year is the extra travel time to get to the school in Grassy Plains.
Whereabouts do you live? Close to this school, or do you have to take the bus?
Down at the spillway.
So how long will it take you to go to school?
It'll take me about an hour or 40 minutes, or something like that. Yeah.
It's going to give you a long day.
Yeah.
The land upon which this school sits belongs to Alcan. It was leased to the school district for educational purposes back in the early 50s when the Kenny Dam and spillway were being built. So if this school closes, the slim hope of it ever reopening diminishes further if the building isn't maintained for educational purposes. With that in mind, the school board is considering keeping the facility available for wilderness training and educational retreats, and the local community would like to be able to use it for social events. So it may be that even when the building is closed as a traditional school, it may still remain as a link to the history of Utsa Lake. Some of that history may be revived in storytelling, at least, at the end of June. A reunion is being held for students who attended classes at the Utsa Lake School between the years of 1919 and 1952. One thing is for sure, when this small class leaves school for the last time at the end of June, it'll be the sad end of a long era in Utsa Lake.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. Known originally as the OHA Memorial Cup, it was originally donated in 1919 by the Ontario Hockey Association in honor of the soldiers who died fighting for Canada in World War I. In 2010, the trophy was rededicated to honor all soldiers who died for Canada in any conflict. Let us return to the archives with Shane Maitland.
It's sunk into a certain degree, but hasn't sunk in fully. I think, in 5 years when we're sitting in a bar or whatever and you're looking down at your finger and you got this big ring on, that's when it's going to sink in. You're going to think about all the memories you had and all the great players you played with. You'd be watching them on TV, and it's just something that you'll never forget.
That's the feeling of 18-year-old Shane Maitland, who in his second year with the Spokane Chiefs of the Western Hockey League now has his name engraved on the Memorial Cup. That's the Stanley Cup of junior hockey. The Chiefs breezed through the WHL playoffs, then went undefeated in the Memorial Tournament. Maitland was happy with his role.
Yeah, I was, my year was ups and downs throughout the regular season, but during the playoffs I played every game, and I got to play every game in the Cup, so I was happy with the way things worked out.
The Chiefs were often chastised by the French media and the sports network for their tough style of play, and that style was never more prevalent than in Shane's game.
My job was basically, Falloon's job is to score goals. My job is just to go out there and cause a little bit of trouble and keep everyone on their toes. And the French guys, I think they got everything they deserved. They play with a full face mask, so they take advantage of us with their sticks up high and us wearing the half shield. So, I think they brought it on themselves, and everyone's chirping about us being all this dirty and stuff, but that's just tough playing. That comes right from our coach, Brian Maxwell. He's tough, and that's the way he likes things. So I think we played the way we were supposed to play.
Now, after a much-needed holiday, Maitland is back in Terrace. Like all athletes, the off-season is spent training for next season. But for Shane, the real test this summer could be trying to get focused. Not every player who's strapped on the blades wins a national championship in their brief major junior hockey career.
I don't know, that's a great question. I can't, I've been thinking about that myself. It's almost like you win it all, so you might as well just pack it in sort of thing. But, you just keep plugging, and hopefully we can maybe pull off a repeat or something. But it's just something that you just got to keep going. You just can't believe the feeling that you get from that. And hopefully, we'll keep her going.
Something else that plays on the mind of young hockey players is the Nhl Entry Draft. Maitland had to be drafted in the first 3 rounds this year. He wasn't. But he had been approached by a couple of scouts. But usually a 5'9", 180-pound player doesn't usually get too many inquiring glances.
That's every kid's dream, is to make it to the show. But right now I'm not concerned about that. I'm just going to savor the moment. And with my size, it's not real promising. But with guys like Theoren Fleury and Cliff Ronning and now Ray Whitney, you never know. But even if nothing happens like that, nothing can take away that 1991 was the year we won the Memorial Cup. So even if nothing progresses from here, it was still worth it.
Maitland still has a lot of experience to gain at the junior level. I asked him what he expects the character of the team to be like this fall, under the probability of losing players like Pat Falloon, who was drafted 2nd overall by San Jose behind highly publicized Eric Lindros, and Ray Whitney, who also went to the Sharks, 1st in the 2nd round, 23rd overall. There's also talk that goalie Trevor Kidd, who is property of the Calgary Flames, may end up playing for the Olympic team.
From a personal standpoint, it's going to be hard to see, the 3 20-year-olds that we had, our captain John Clemgo and Mark Wolf and guys like that. And, there's going to be guys getting traded, I'm sure, and guys that are going to have to go to the expansion team, Tacoma. And it is going to be hard to see everyone go because we had such a close-knit team. We were all together right from day one. But, I guess that's part of the game. You just got to keep going. But those guys will, we'll all be in each other's hearts all the time, and we'll all have that ring, so it'll be worth it.
Playing hockey in Spokane is different than playing, let's say, like in Lethbridge. The noticeable difference being the crowds. The Seattle Thunderbirds have had as many as 12 to 14,000 fans on hand for their games. Keep in mind, this is junior hockey. The WHL is expanding next season to include another U.S.-based team, Tacoma. Here are Shane's thoughts on the expansion.
It does nothing but good for the game. I mean, Tacoma, they're gonna play in the Tacoma Dome. I'm sure a couple times they'll sell, 20,000 people watching a junior hockey, and that's one thing in the States. They don't care if you win or lose. They just want to go there for a good time. They can drink beer in the stands. So it's like the biggest nightclub on a Friday or Saturday night with a $9 cover charge sort of thing. But they're a lot less critical in the States. They don't know that much about the game as they do in Canada or, say, Lethbridge, where if you go offside, they know why you did it or whatever. But in the States, they're just sort of happy to be there. So it's going to do nothing but good for the game. And it just pumps you up to see all those people in the stands.
Well, Shane is the first to admit that he will never be the player that can lug the puck up the ice and score that pretty end-to-end goal that will light up sportscasts all across the country. He knows his limitations and his capabilities at this point in his career and will be content playing that tough role behind the smaller players. And every now and then, when Lady Luck smiles brightly, a goal will just be icing on the cake.
You always want, every kid's dream is to make it to the NHL, but like I said earlier, if none of that happens, I was part of the 1991 Memorial Cup winning team, and maybe 10 years I'll be able to see the Memorial Cup with my name on it, but we're going to try and see what happens, go as far as I can.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Participation in organized sports during childhood and adolescence has important benefits for physical, psychological, and social health. Sport-based youth development programs outside of school promote a wide range of learning and life skill development. In this final segment of Open Connection, let us return to the archives with Laurel Zodema.
The philosophy of the initiation program is to teach the kids the skills of hockey before they go into the actual hockey game. And our whole philosophy here is having fun first, that children can have fun while they learn the skills.
Just as Canada's future relies on our youth, the prospect for hockey rests on how players are developed. Declining numbers of kids in minor hockey programs have been a cause for concern for quite some time, and not just in Kitimat.
Across Canada, and even we found here in minor hockey a few years back, that the enrollment was going down, and a lot of it was because the kids weren't having fun. The seriousness of it was in it, and the competitiveness, and the kids felt pressure probably from parents and people, and they just weren't having fun. And how it showed was the enrollment was going down. So we looked at that and decided that we should do something about it. So we thought we'd put the fun back in it and let the kids have fun.
Is it working?
Yes, it's working. Over the last, I've been in for 4 years, and every year it increases. We started out with about 50 kids, and now we have 110 kids in the program. So it's showing by the enrollment.
The program is useful for just learning skating skills, and coaches who take part go through an entire training plan as well.
Most of our coaches have never played hockey or could barely skate themselves, and there is an initiation program course that the parents go through, and it helps them to learn the philosophy of the program, which is to have fun and how to communicate with the kids in a positive way, that they feel good about themselves when they come off the ice.
The parents appreciate the program also.
Well, actually, the reason I like it is because they have so much fun on the ice and they're actually learning. And what I feel and see too is because they're having so much fun, they actually pay attention longer and they learn a little bit more. So they enjoy it, and that to me is the most important thing.
So there's no pushing them out to hockey practice?
Oh no, it works the other way. Is when they're acting up, he's saying if you don't behave you can't go to hockey, and boy do we get a good response.
And there's been a noticeable improvement in the level of skills.
Oh yeah, it's a really big increase. Actually, Nicholas, our little guy, last year, this is his second year, he crawled out. He couldn't even stand out. He was like on his hands and knees crawling out, and now he skates circles around me, so it's a big difference.
About a third of the minor hockey players are enrolled. It's for 5 to 10-year-olds, and at the start, players are evaluated according to age and ability, and then assigned to the appropriate program level. Each level involves 20 lesson plans, and as they move through the program, the youngsters improve their hockey skills as well as their self-confidence.
Okay, one more time with the left foot, coming back, let's go. Let's get that left foot nice and high. Come on, guys, kick the hand, kick it up. That's it, nice and high. Okay, you can get your sticks now. We're going to do the one where we pull the knee up. Grab your hockey sticks. Everyone on the line. Okay, Fred is going to show you how to do this one again. We're going to try it with the right knee first. You'll take 4 or 5 strides. You'll get some speed up. Pay attention, guys. Okay, wait, hold it, watch. This is what we want to try. Okay, we want to get the right knee up. We want to glide all the way up then on one foot. Okay, the same thing coming back, guys. That's it, Dwayne, that's it. Hold it up, that's good. Get it up, Ryan, that's it, guy.
So far, the sessions have attracted only 4 girls, but there are several female coaches.
Okay, who's your partner, Jesse? Manjeet? Okay. Okay, put your stick down so he's got someplace to aim for, okay? That's right. Okay, look where you're passing. All right, that's perfect, guys. Okay, okay, in front and behind, remember, Jesse?
And the kids know why they like the program.
I like skating.
I see you're a very good skater. How long have you been skating?
20 years.
He also likes the LA Kings, and though he's a bit young to know all the technical terms, he'll grow into them.
What are you learning right now in your practice?
That right there.
Yeah. Is that called stick handling?
Stick around those things.
How old are you, Taylor?
5.
And the kids agree it's fun.
Because it's a fun sport.
Yeah. Do you have fun every time you come down to the arena?
Yeah.
Do you have friends who play?
Yep, a few. Some go to my class too.
Just about everyone has a favorite team.
Calgary.
Why Calgary? I thought that Edmonton was better than Calgary.
Yeah, sometimes. 'Cause it's fun.
What are you practicing today?
Hockey.
Yeah. Have you played any games yet, or is it all practicing?
I played some games and I had my tournament.
Oh, and how did you do in the tournament?
Fine.
And not all the favorites are in the NHL.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind to his heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.